Let's see what the swing state voters are doing with the Biden garbage remark. They're so mad. Everyone's so angry.
We've been talking about the battlegrounds. It all comes down to who is going to win the battlegrounds. They will wind up being the president. Pete is live in Romeo, Michigan today. And you're actually, it looks like you're in a tent. You're in the overflow area, right?
Oh, yeah. Steve, we're in the parking lot.
If you time out Jason D100, you have to time me out too? Okay. What? What a crazy statement. What the Does anybody else want to catch a band? Like what? Anyway.
Absolutely. Because there's such a big, and it's nice out here because it's a little bit cooler. And we got a lot of folks in here who look like garbage? I guess.
I mean, yeah, they do. Like, they actually do. It's not wrong. They do look like garbage. But more importantly, they have garbage opinions. Garbage opinions. That's like the underlying sentiment.
Guys, we're in Romeo, Michigan, the Four Corners Diner, Macomb County. They call it Trump County, I'm saying. And this county went for Trump in 16 and 20. And by the way, it's Halloween. And I didn't know this, but Romeo is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Halloween town in America. What's the name of the street here in town?
Tilson Street.
Tilson Street is where all the decorations are. Apparently, it's just right down the road. We'll have to check it out later on for decorations and for kids and everything else. But this morning, we're talking to voters. How many here have early voted here in Michigan? Okay, that's a lot. This is the first year ever there's been early voting in the state of Michigan. Over 2 million, almost 2 million Michiganders have cast an early vote. Out of 8 million possible voters, that's a big chunk 6 days away from Election Day. But I want to get a sense of how this group, and we'll go talk to the other group as well, is feeling about those comments. I can't help but see this gentleman here wearing a reflective vest like the president did yesterday. Have you ever actually used that to remove garbage?
Absolutely, picking up garbage along the side of the road with cleaning up the highways and stuff like that.
So what do you make of the comments made by Joe Biden and the president's reaction?
Well, I think it speaks to what Joe Biden really thinks and Harris really thinks of the people in this country that support Donald Trump. And he's going to take out the garbage.
Going to take out the garbage. Come with us, because we got a lot of folks here. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your service. How you doing, sir? What do you think of the garbage comment?
Well, I just think it's them. I mean, we need somebody back in office that cares about the American people, not the administration that cares about themselves.
Absolutely. Ma'am, how about both of you? You saw those comments from Joe Biden.
Well, I thought that was a bunch of garbage is what I thought. I thought, oh my gosh, first we're deplorables and now we're garbage? No way. We are the heartbeat of America. We are the United States of America. We are the patriots. We need to get Trump back in office is what I thought.
Well said. What is it?
God, family, and country.
God, family, and country. No garbage in there.
Absolutely.
I love it. Thank you very much. Let's go inside now. We're in the park. We're coming back to you guys. Oh. Well, there is one. We did get a trash can. I'm sorry. He came as his own trash can. You can't make it up. Any comments, trash can?
You can call me deplorable, call me garbage, call me whatever you want. But if the economy gets better, our borders get secure, that I don't care what you call me.
Then we're all trash. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Come on in.
This is weird, man. Didn't they dunk on the people wearing pussy hats and shit? Like, this is objectively worse, you know? Like, you are just openly calling yourself garbage in a way to own the libs, I guess. Like, lib ownage is at an all-time high. Once again, it's weird. It's weird.
All right. How would you say hello to Fox and Friends, everybody? Holy cow. What a great group. You guys actually got here early and got inside. Yeah. Perfect. Ma'am, what's your name?
Tony.
Tony, and your dad had a profession.
Yes, he was a garbage man for 15 years.
Not an easy job.
Not when the cans were metal and nobody put the lids on it and the ice melted in them.
Yeah, it's cold here in Michigan, taking out the trash.
Yes, it is.
And so what do you make of Joe Biden's comments about Trump supporters?
Well, I think this lady over here said it best. If she wants to repeat it, I don't want to take.
Which young lady is that? Right over here?
This one right here.
All right, come on over, ma'am. Her time has been deferred to you. Ought to be good.
I would rather be considered, I just screwed it all up. I would rather be called garbage than be called a Democrat.
Pretty universal sentiment here. Sir, just those comments and your reaction.
Well, absolutely. We need to take our country back, and we need to vote red. We need to bring Trump back, apple to apples, oranges to orange. Our president, Donald Trump, are you better off 4 years ago than you are now? Absolutely. We need to bring President Donald Trump back, number 47.
There we go. I mean, there you have it. Hey, we're going back to God, family, country. We want our economy back. We want secure borders. They can call names all they want. Ultimately, you got a lot of knowledgeable voters in here. How many here have cast your vote already? I mean, tons of early voters here I mean, it's almost the entirety of the room. And if you haven't voted yet, shame on you, because their votes are helping the rest of us out. It's
How many
almost 2 million in Michigan, guys.
Okay.
That's 2 million in Michigan have cast their vote already. First year of early voting here in Michigan across the state.
Pete.
And of 8 million voters, potential voters, that's a big number.
I cannot believe how popular you are, Pete. Look at that turnout. That is unbelievable. Just to see you in person.
Oh, it's incredible.
You have more people outside than inside.
It's not just about. No, they love you guys. They want to say hello.
I love all the red, white, and
Folks in
blue.
New York. We'll talk to you again later. Good morning. How we doing? All right. We're on live television. Settle down, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to see all of you. Again, a show of hands, who has early voted? So a big chunk of folks. And ma'am, I was talking to you. This is your first time voting, and it's an early vote.
It is. I waited heavily. I decided that this election was too important, and I went.
That's such a lie, bro. You're old as fuck. You love voting. You voted for Trump, and you would vote for Trump illegally if you could. Like, this is such a lie. Oh, I weighed heavily on voting. This election is the most important of our lifetime. It's like, man, shut up. You love voting. There's never been an election that you haven't participated in, okay? Old people love voting.
And I did it in person. I have a good feeling. I think Sunday the Lions are going to win, and Tuesday Trump is going to win.
Now we're bringing the Lions into this. I mean, that's fair. As a Vikings fan, I understand that.
New Tyler Oliveira video on neo-Nazis inside the rise of Germany's, in air quotes, neo-Nazis. That's incredible. My man is international. My man has gone officially international in his fascist normalization. Tyler Hitler Vera at it again.
Well, come on. Come on, Sam Darnold. How about some other, who else early voted here? Ma'am, you early voted. What issues matter the most to you?
The main issue that matters to me is the illegals, immigrants that are crossing our border and making it unsafe for the rest of us here in the United States.
And sir?
The flow of illegal drugs coming through here, this fentanyl is really a big deal right now. And yeah, we got to stop that.
Once again, I would like to reiterate that there is no border crisis impacting Michigan. That would be ridiculous. Also, on top of that, I grew up in a Jewish community near Detroit that was pretty insular. And let's just say when I started encountering people in the Romeo area, I very quickly learned about the rest of the political landscape in Southeast Michigan. Richard Spencer chose Macomb County to hold a rally, and my friends and I were able to stop it from being held in 2016. Yeah. I wonder why Richard Spencer, neo-Nazi, went there. Much to consider. But yeah, Macomb County, that's a thing that I wanted to mention here again is that, remember when I talk about how like most of the panic that these guys delude themselves into believing is just completely made up? Macomb? I thought it was Macomb. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Remember what I told you? It's pure selfishness, and it's like being mean to the other. That's like a big part of Republican campaigning, Republican promises, just in general. But in terms of like this guy being like fentanyl's a big problem, it's true. It is a big problem. Fentanyl overdoses are declining for the first time ever under the Biden administration. If only the Democratic Party promoted that or talked about that. But also beyond that, 90% of the chemical compounds necessary to create fentanyl are trafficked over the border and are apprehended or caught at regular points of entry. Okay? Border crossings. 90% of the people that are caught trafficking fentanyl or any other kind of drug really over the border are actually American citizens. So the idea that like illegal immigrants are bringing in fentanyl is ridiculous. If only the Democrats would routinely talk about this fact. They do not. They never do. It's just factually inaccurate. These guys have deluded themselves. These guys have deluded themselves into believing a false reality. Yeah, because it's not true. Major cap. Why not, Hasan? Because so many people just genuinely would rather believe a false narrative like this dipshit instead of looking at the truth, instead of believing the truth. Okay? Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to look at the data anymore. You would rather fear this supposed other doing nefarious shit, okay, instead of looking at the data and realizing that it is not undocumented migrants that are responsible for the fentanyl trafficking over the border. Why even have facts? I don't know. I mean, narrative is more important than truth. Narrative is 100% more important than truth. Narrative will guide what people perceive as truth. And in this day and age, when nobody is doing the job that they're supposed to be doing, which is like, hey, this is a completely made up thing that you are repeating over and over again, it's gotten worse and worse. Why are you spreading fake news, bruh? Why is it that no one ever actually presents data when I am guided by the official Department of Homeland Security numbers? Okay? I tuned out of politics for like 2 months and I forgot Hasan has to repeat the same statistics like a million times. I know. And I'll never stop. I'll never stop repeating it. Just understand. I will never stop repeating it because I know that even if there are people in here that are refusing to reckon with the reality, it still does not matter. There are still plenty of people who are maybe hearing it for the first time ever. Okay? The information I'm presenting to you is from the Department of Homeland Security. The information I present to you is from Customs and Border Patrol. These are not woke institutions. These are institutions that are in the tank for Donald Trump very openly. Okay? They are comprised of individuals who are still very much pro-Trump.
That affects everybody, no doubt. Ma'am, you early voted, right? Do you mind if I ask who you voted for?
Well, it's the special person that starts with a T.
And what motivates you? What motivated you to vote? What issues matter the most to you?
Too many. There are a lot of things in that are not going right, and somebody's got to turn them around. Just like the illegal immigrants coming across, they are well dressed. They are not. Okay.
No, I get you.
What?
Motivates you? What motivated you to vote? What issues matter the most to you?
Too many. There are a lot of things in that are not going right, and somebody's got to turn them around. Just like the illegal immigrants coming across, they are well dressed. They are not. Okay.
The illegals that are coming across are well dressed? Like she's saying they're actually secretly rich? Is that what it is? Like, I don't even understand. They're too swagged out? Like, is that the argument? What the fuck?
No, I get you. I get what you're saying. Illegal immigration is a huge issue. And ma'am, now you said you're going to wait for Election Day.
I always do.
Okay. Why is that?
Just because it's tradition. You know, I like being able to actually stand in the long lines and be able to talk with people. It's just my own personal tradition. Yeah.
She likes long lines. No, I get the tradition of it for sure. A lot of enthusiastic folks here in Romeo, Michigan. We're going to be back with them in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go out to Pete. Pete, you're in that state of Michigan where there's going to be a lot of focus.
That state.
And we understand, according to our last poll, we're in a dead heat in Michigan.
It's a dead heat. And there's already 2 million votes. And we've got 6 days to go to Election Day. A packed house here. Hey, everybody, how are we doing this morning? All right, raise your hands for me. I'm going to poll the other group as well. Is Donald Trump better at serving fries or running a garbage truck? Who says serving fries? How about garbage truck? It's kind of.
Wow. A lot of policy in this room, you know? A lot of well thought out opinions as to why we're all voting for Donald Trump. Have you ever in your life seen this much sexual hog energy in one room? Oh my God. New 538 polls show Kamala Harris losing in Pennsylvania. We shall see. Lead poisoning has had a devastating impact on this country's future. Okay.
Both. It's not really fair. Good to see y'all. Let's go to the other side. Let's see what they think. You know, Good morning, everybody.
Nobody who actually knows anything about elections in this country is saying this. There's no one more puzzled by the Atlas poll result in North Carolina than me. The early voting data suggests very strong performance by Republicans, and frankly, it's difficult. It's difficult to see how, based on this data, the race is even close. Our own poll also suggests Republicans will win the election day vote by quite a large margin. The only possible explanation is higher rates of Republicans and independents voting for Kamala in North Carolina than one would expect, or perhaps Democratic turnout is indeed lagging and the poll result will be off because of that. We will be releasing a new set of results this Saturday, so we'll have the opportunity of looking at this issue with more data, but I confess I am quite puzzled by this. Every single aggregator in this country treats this guy's surveys with New York Times level weight because he put out a bunch of results that show things in the margin of error in 2020. Coper's germentum is off the copium. So the analysis was correct. The Republicans galvanized early voting. Interesting. I didn't think it would be accurate. I think both you and Austin talked about this. What is your opinion? Republicans have made an initiative to do early voting this year, unlike last year when they were, or last election cycle when they were stupidly going against the wishes of their local party members in states where there are a shit ton of early voting. This year, they have been back and forth on it, but they have actively made an effort to try and get people out in early voting. Now, having said that, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Austin's opinion here is that Republicans are cannibalizing their same day voting by pushing for early voting potentially, which I think there is truth. There's truth for that. The pollster is hilarious. They're from Brazil and known for being off by 10 plus in their own country. It came here and got lucky in 2020 by saying everything is a tie and then got called accurate. Lamau is awesome. Their favorite poll, Polymarket, has started the move towards Kamala the past day or two on the right. People are freaking out and trying to explain it. North Carolina's early vote split evenly in thirds with Dems, Reps, and Independents. These results for this pollster are not very surprising to me, looking back at some analysis I did on their 2020 national election poll microdata at Roper. To begin with, their unweighted result for Trump was 66, Biden 33. No idea how they were getting so many Trump voters in 2020. Then I try to replicate their weight according to their stated methodology. There's a discrepancy here because in one, it's mentioned they weighed by 2016 recall vote, but not in the other. From other polls in the same pollster, I'm pretty sure they did weigh by recall vote. I tried several different versions of weighing by those variables, but none of them was able to replicate their final estimate of Biden 52, Trump 47. In fact, in none of those weights, I was able to get Biden ahead of Trump. The closest I got was Biden 49, Trump 50. I do not care about Polymarket or Predict It or any number of different, election gambling websites that are, I think some of them are like cryptocurrency backed anyway. I just don't give a shit. I don't consider any of that to be a reliable way, an accurate way of looking at the odds, like the real odds. Like maybe Vegas odds could be more accurate than I think like Polymarket and shit. Yeah. The betting odds are really, really stupid. Don't worry, big bro. I put all my Haas coin on the Jill Stein sweep. Hasan is sad. Joe Biden has low chance on the Polymarket. Yeah. Where does their claim that betting odds are more accurate than polling? It's just stupid. I don't know. Stupid people are saying this. Like others have said, you made the poo on head thumbo. What? It's no different than like surveying this community and being like, well, this community is going to Kamala Harris by wide numbers. You know? Regarding what Austin says to you, in North Carolina, 9% of all early vote Republican voters were 2020 E-Day voters. For Dems, only 3% of early voters were 2020 E-Day voters. In Georgia, 8% of all election or early voters are election day voters. The vast, vast, vast majority are rural white. Looking at the polling data and also adding on a little bit of the Hasanabi vibes, see Kamala Harris winning the election. My position on that has only, I mean, I was more confident of a Kamala Harris victory maybe a couple months ago, and now I am less confident, but I still think that Kamala Harris will likely eke out a marginal victory over Donald Trump. I mean, it is definitely a toss-up. It is obviously a toss-up. Clip for the fifth. I mean, I have said this. I've said this a bunch of times. That's what I think. I mean, all of this still hinges very much, in my opinion, on Pennsylvania. That is the most consequential aspect of this. If Kamala Harris hemorrhages her base too hard in Philadelphia in terms of black, brown, young voters and can't make up for that with high propensity, college educated whites in the suburbs, she's absolutely cooked. This should have never been a toss up. And I think that Kamala Harris will probably eke out a marginal victory over Donald Trump in spite of her terrible campaign. That's what I think. Something odd in that Fox News PA poll. The two-way LV screen has Trump up 50-49. It has Trump winning whites just 42-48 and Harris winning non-whites 72-28. In 2020, whites were 81% of the PA electorate. If that were the case in 2024, this should be Harris up 52.5 to 47.4. In order to get a Trump lead in 50-49, the LV sample would have had to be 93% white instead of 81% white. In 2020, Trump won PA whites by 57-42. So if he's winning whites by just 52-48, he's in very big trouble. Yeah. Strange then that they would list the white vote at 52-48 and then show Trump winning overall 50-49, even without a massive non-white gain. So where are the non-whites? Note that I'm not questioning whether the crosstabs themselves are wrong. That's usually a bad idea because of high margin of error. I'm merely computing the total based on the crosstabs, and there are presumably only two race categories here, white and non-white. So what's going on here? For what it's worth, the gender crosstabs add up perfectly to the reported result based on 2020 exits. So the crosstabs should actually add up. Is there a third category that is neither white nor non-white? Either way, 48% of whites for Harris is a clear Harris win in PA. That's what they are relying on. That's what the campaign has been actively trying to do. Now, there was a way to do that without coming across as like overtly off-putting, which would have, in my opinion, reflected better in the polls as well. Please do not read people who aren't pollsters wrong about assumptions on polling. I mean, I don't know about the analysis, but the campaign's goals are correct. Like he is right. And it's something that I have mentioned time and time again. White suburban voters that are normally firmly committed to the Republican Party, high propensity voters, have been going the way of the Democratic Party in special elections, in midterm elections where they come out. Okay. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden has been able to make gains in this constituency. This is a very important constituency because they vote. They vote a lot. And not only do they vote and vote a lot, they also are, there's a lot of them. There's just more white people in this country than there are any other kind of person. Okay? So, if you are able to shake away some of these voters, because many of them are concerned with Trump's rhetoric, many of them are concerned with January 6th, many of them are concerned with the fact that Trump wants to undermine democracy. If you're rich and a believer that the system still, to a certain degree, works in your favor, you are going to be less interested in voting for a guy who wants to blow it up. Kamala Harris is still very much the institutional defender. That is the way she has presented herself. That's the way that Joe Biden presented himself. People that are, and there are a shit ton more people out there who are upset with the institutions, certainly. But the problem is, people who are upset with the institutions, what did you eat? Is Zin. I'm packed in Zin. People that are upset with institutions are oftentimes poorer on average. That's the reason why they're upset with the institutions. They're like, this shit's not helping me. And many of them do not vote. The likelihood of them voting is lower than a wealthy white person with a college education in the suburbs. Okay? So, for the Democratic Party, shaking them away from the Trump base is their method. It's the way that they're running this campaign. It's how they've chosen to do so that frustrates me. Do you think that a suburban white constituency falls away if the Dems can reverse Dobbs over time and Trump goes away? I mean, they don't even need to reverse Dobbs. When Trump goes away, that suburban white constituency will absolutely flip back by unimaginable numbers to a competent Republican and more, and then some, because in that entire time frame, the Democrats have actively primed the rest of their base to being less resilient towards fascist sentiment by openly communicating that they will be the border control party. This is my fear for the future of this country. This is something that I have communicated time and time again. This is a very dangerous prospect for America's future. Okay? That's the way I see it. For what it's worth, the New York Times poll shows Harris up plus 16 with college-educated non-whites. Biden was plus 3 in CNN exit polls in 2020. The suburbs outside of Philly seem a lot more blue than before. This is just through my observation while doing Uber Eats in the Philly suburbs. And in super red areas where I used to see a lot of Trump signs outside of houses. I've seen significantly fewer Trump signs and surprisingly some Kamala signs popping up. No Trump to run against in 2028. Every Republican that endorsed her this cycle won't back her next cycle. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
All right. Quick question. So Donald Trump worked the McDonald's fries and the garbage truck. Who thinks he's better at fries? Who thinks he's better at garbage truck? This group is full of garbage men. I love it. And we're going to talk to a special annex table over here. All right, excuse me, folks, while the camera moves. I'm going to move through here because they've been stuck in a room by themselves, and we don't want to leave them alone. So here they are. How you doing? Good to see y'all.
I don't care about the women's split. I care about the white women. Okay? Do you understand? I don't know what number Trump has to arrive at with the women's split to figure out the outcome, because Trump's base of support comes from white women. It's white people. This is something that you have to understand. Like, the reality of the matter is 60% of the women vote is white. Okay? A 66%, or give or take, more than 60%. I don't know what the exact number is off the top of my head. But that is what Trump's base is. Trump has always captured majority white women. White women make up the largest chunk of the women vote. If you see the white women vote go by, if Trump no longer has the majority of white women, that means he's losing the election. Okay? Trump gains with Hispanic men, Harris up with white women, Reuters Ipsos poll shows. I know, we saw this, we looked at this yesterday. Why do we put so much emphasis on the popular vote when the Electoral College ultimately has the final decision? I mean, the Electoral College ultimately has the final decision. We're not looking at the popular vote. We're trying to make predictions on what, like looking at demographic patterns. We're trying to make a prediction on which way the, hold on. We're looking at votes in only states that matter, not the popular vote, chat. No, we're looking at national polls as well. But given that party polarization is completely set, and that people are either a Democrat or a Republican, and that is just like set in stone across the board, you can extrapolate from that data, looking at the way that like certain demographic votes are, whichever way certain demographic shifts are happening for the national parties and make an assessment on what that would look like in each individual state. That is specifically why I'm looking at white women in general, because white women by majority have gone to Donald Trump in the last 2 election cycles. If Kamala Harris has made inroads with white women come November 5th and has actually broken that allegiance due to Roe v. Wade, then Donald Trump has no path towards victory. Why? Because Donald Trump is already maxed out on all of the demographics. He's already tapped out. He already hit his ceiling. Okay? He was president already. He lost, and people either love him or they despise him. They're not necessarily undecided on him. Now, there are avenues that he could go to, untapped wells that he could draw from. But the problem with those untapped wells is that they are inconsistent. They might actually say that they love Donald Trump. They might even respond to a pollster about how much they love Donald Trump. But they might not necessarily be registered to vote. They might be in college. They might not be home, so that they can't even mail in their ballot. And that is the issue for Donald Trump. I do not foresee, and I might be totally wrong on this, but I do not foresee young men specifically, a demographic notorious for being unreliable voters anyway, going out and voting for Trump. And a big part of that is because Donald Trump has not made any positive arguments as to why you must vote for him for a lot of these people. He has simply said, remember the economy was better, I'm going to fix it. Okay? He is ironically doing the harm reduction argument. He has done the harm reduction argument. He does not make a compelling case. He can make a compelling case for why he's better than Kamala Harris for young men by appearing on these podcasts where young men are listening and tuning in, the anti-establishment voters. But Kamala Harris does not have the undesirables that Hillary Clinton had. Kamala Harris is not a toxic enough individual that Hillary Clinton was that would then point to these guys going out and voting by large numbers to punish the Democratic Party. These are some of the reasons why I think Donald Trump's chances of an electoral success are worse, and they've always been worse than Kamala Harris's chances of winning this election. Kamala Harris never had decades of Oppo research on her. Kamala Harris did not have decades of conspiracy theories, some warranted, some unwarranted, that carried that was, something that she carried along with her everywhere she goes, in the same way that Hillary Clinton had that. But voting is so much easier now that the lazy voters will be out in large numbers. I don't think voting is so much easier. Do you really believe that the majority of young male voters care about the undesirable aspects of Trump's character? No. Donald Trump never made a convincing argument as to why young male voters should vote for him. He has made a convincing argument as to why young male voters should vote against Kamala Harris, i.e., the Republican version of harm reduction arguments. But harm reduction arguments are not successful at converting someone. They might be good at winning your support, but winning your support does not mean you're going to go out and vote, especially if you're a low or mid propensity voter, especially if you're a low propensity voter. Young men don't need to hear a convincing argument for him is the point. In 2020, men were almost evenly divided between Trump and Biden, unlike in 2016 when Trump won by men by 11 points. Trump won a slightly larger share of women votes in 2020 than in 2016, while Biden's share of women was nearly identical to Clinton's, 55 to 54. Young men, just like everybody else, also needs to vote for something. I hope you are right. We need all the copium. Propensity to vote is the likelihood that you will vote, and it's tracked by looking at who you have voted for or how you have voted, or if you haven't voted in the past elections. Out of the past 4 elections, which includes midterms and general elections, if you have voted in all 4, as in midterms and general elections, you are a high propensity voter. If it's less than 4, if it's down to 2 out of 4, you're a mid propensity voter. If it's 0 to 1 out of 4, then you are a low propensity voter. Does low propensity take into account young people who haven't been able to vote in the past 4 elections, but only 2? I think it does, yes. It would be so funny if all the theories fail on election day the same way it did in 2016. Well, the difference here, as opposed to 2016, is that the polls are not actually showing Kamala Harris putting up LeBron numbers in the way that they were showing for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. That's the difference. So I think a lot of people are terrified of a Trump victory. As a matter of fact, they consider it likely. They consider it likely that Trump will win. And it makes sense, especially in a community such as this one. You are younger on average. You're under the age of 35. You're more likely to be under the age of 35. And this is a very male-dominated space, Twitch is. So there are plenty of young men who may or may not go out and vote, but still will openly say they are for Donald Trump. And so this is the reason why I think a lot of people have this sneaking suspicion that Trump is going to put up incredible numbers. And the reason why they think that is because people around them are saying they're pro-Trump. But if you were to actually examine the likelihood of those pro-Trump people under the age of 35 who like the Joe Rogan Experience or watch Theo Vaughn, the likelihood of them actually going out to vote or remembering the vote at all, you will get a better understanding of how things are going. Part of that is because Donald Trump hasn't, in my opinion, actively argued for anything. Like these guys, I'll give you an example. Donald Trump's number one thing for the podcaster vote is constantly talking about trans people. There has never been an election where people put trans people and dominating them and dominating their lives in the top 40 priorities, okay? It does not track. Like Israel, Gaza is infinitely more important than that. Gun control or, having access to guns is infinitely higher of a priority if you are a Republican, right? Protecting your guns, your arsenal of weapons is an infinitely higher priority for Republicans. Nobody gives a fuck about trans people. People don't know enough trans people, okay? They don't think about trans people at all. Most normal people do not ever think about trans people. But we are deluded by what we see on Twitter because all the crazies get highlighted on Twitter. If you were to look at Twitter or if you were to look at your YouTube algorithm or if you were to think about your coworkers that are mainlining, insane right-wing podcasts, you would think that's all people care about. Everyone is a Matt Walsh supporter. This has never been successful in terms of turnout and in terms of how people vote in any of the last elections, whether they are the midterm elections or whether they are the general. As a matter of fact, it has been remarkably unsuccessful in the last midterm election in 2022. So the more they talk about trans people, the more people just go, okay, whatever, who cares? It doesn't actually cause your podcast watching coworkers to go, hell yeah, brother, I'm actually voting specifically because Donald Trump is going to kill trans people or Donald Trump is going to forcibly reverse gender surgeries. No one does that. The people that believe that are most likely not going to vote. Okay, they're crazy. Do you understand? Why are there still insane amounts of anti-trans legislation, though? Because the party needs to do busy work. The Republican Party, that is. And this seemingly for them is busy work. They're like, oh yeah, we get to dunk on a marginalized group that, that is virtually helpless and with no way of like fighting back. And it's a good way to signal our vices that we're doing something different. It's like their version of Dems banning random tobacco products. Kind of, yeah. It's just significantly more consequential for the trans community than it is for people who like mango flavored vapes or whatever. Why do you think Trump has been talking about trans people then? Has he just lost the ability to read the room or is he just going with what the think tanks are making up? I think Trump goes out. I mean, there was a point I remember so vividly when Donald Trump was like, you guys love when I talk about trans people. You like it more than the economy. And the room was like, hell yeah, sir. You're right. I think he's just going to these like donor meetings or going to like his super fans and he's seeing how much they cheer for the trans shit. And he has in his corner a bunch of people who are stupid and love the podcast circuit. He has Elon Musk. He has JD Vance. He has Don Jr. He has Laura Loomer. These people are stupid. They don't know anything. they are also primed by the echo chamber that they have cultivated. They have mistaken, and this is something that I keep reiterating, okay? They have mistaken the algorithms for reality on the ground. It's a big mistake. They've done too much internet, okay? They have done entirely too much internet. They've gotten gross and they've gotten weird. The average American does not care about this shit. They care about putting food on their table. They care about having a stable job and potentially being able to, one day retire. That's what they give a shit about. Don't worry, Hasan. This is what the Trump camp is doing to drive headlines in the last few days. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. I will vote. That's what this is. This is Hunter Biden's dick. They're doing it. They're doing Hunter Biden's cock again. It's so stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb as fuck, which is also part of the reason why I'm saying that Kamala Harris is going to win this election. Okay? In spite of her also equally dogshit campaign. Like, this is so stupid. It's so stupid. What an idiotic way to run a headline. What an idiotic way to try to change the campaign narrative in the last couple of days. Wait, I thought you said Trump was going to win 10 minutes ago? No. So you predict Kamala? I have been saying that I think Kamala Harris is going to win over and over and over again for the past couple of months. I still, however, am unimaginably upset with how dogshit of a campaign that she has run. Okay? I've said it over and over again. I told liberals in the chat that were coconut pilled, fear not. I think she's running a dogshit campaign, especially post DNC. It's just been awful. Like, it's been a sequence of L's over and over and over again. And yet I still believe that she has a likelihood to win. Now, that likelihood has dropped. I think you've fallen for one here. What do you mean? My goat has spoken. What are we even talking about here? When I think about my kids and my family and how they will grow up, the choice is clear to me. Vote Kamala Harris.
Together, it was awesome. All right. Heck yeah, it's cool. Black guy. That's one of my buddies. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome.
No, I'm not a racist.
You did say they will snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. I said never underestimate the Democrats' capabilities of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. If you look at the polling for the past couple of months and the momentum in the direction of Donald Trump, you will understand that I'm not wrong for saying that. The Democrats, I have said over and over again, are slated to win in spite of the Democrats, okay? In spite of the Democratic Party's best wishes. The Democratic Party is desperately, seemingly trying to lose. It makes no damn sense. The problem, however, for them, even though they are trying to lose, is that there is a lot of animosity towards Donald Trump, and that has not changed. This is the third Trump referendum, okay? The third Trump referendum now. It is basically turned into a Republican primary at this point. So you want Trump to win? When have I ever said that? When have those words ever come out of my mouth? I can make stuff up about you as well, like you skipped the gym today. I finally got your attention. Okay, thanks. When you sang the song, yeah, dude, the earworms that I have. I will vote. Oh my God, I will vote. I will vote for Donald Trump.
They're taking black jobs now. The whole country is going to be it'll be like Detroit. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? They're poisoning the blood of our country. You're changing history. You're changing culture.
Of course I hate these people. And let's all hate these people, because maybe hate is what we need.
God damn. My goat. He's so good. He's so good at running campaign ads. He's literally better. He's literally better than the entirety of the Democratic Party at running a campaign ad, dude. He's the GOAT. Once again, he's the GOAT. He has demonstrated his GOAT status once again, dude. Listen, we might be at odds sometimes, okay? But my God, LeBron, what have you done? LeBron, he's done it again. He did it again. Swung the election in favor of Kamala Harris. Straight up. He knows what white supremacy looks like, okay? He's played against the Celtics many times. He knows what it looks like. He knows what it feels like in his bones. People doubt him because they're Klansmen. People say stuff like MJ better. Again, it's crazy. The problem is the right will just set it to different music and use it as a hype video. Westbrook better, to be honest. Okay, dude. Kamala will absolutely lose. She's neck to neck in PA, and Democrats usually need to be a couple points ahead to win. I know polls have tried to account for that since 2020. However, I don't think it's enough. Historically, Trump has been underestimated, and if the Democrats don't have a change in policy, they will lose. What do you mean change in policy? There's no change in policy coming. There's 4 days out from the election. Are you crazy? This is putting me at odds with LeBron James because I already wrote in LeBron James as who I was voting for as president. Instructions were unclear. Now it seems like my goat has spoken in favor of Kamala Harris, but it's too late for me to change my decision because, like I said, I already wrote him in for president. I think he would do a fantastic job. He can win if you all vote for him, if you all write his name in. I thought you were riding with Biden. Yeah, no, I was lying this whole time. Anyway, let's move on. So, yeah, the good stuff. This is like, once again, bad instincts from the Republican Party, hyper focusing on like idiotic nonsense to try to change the dynamic, to try to change the narrative, but it's not even a good narrative. And it's also, in some respects, not a good narrative because like they can't point to the gas prices because they're going down. They can't really point to inflation that much. They can only say like, things are very costly, which it is, right? And with no actual solutions, and the only solution that Trump has presented being tariffs, which Kamala Harris obviously directly pointed to as a massive sales tax across the board. Good luck to Donald Trump in the upcoming election. Republicans are psychotic. Kill Obamacare now. Yeah, that's great, man. Good shit. I'm sorry, but anyone citing 2016 is talking out of their ass since everyone was wrong. All the models will try to account for Republican undercounts. If anything, we may overestimate Republican turnout, far more likely than an underestimation. This is also, I mean, if we're talking about like post-election, this is the type of shit that's like really scary. Chuck Schumer saying he's going to adopt the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism and like sneak it into a bill. Very scary. On the one hand, you have Project 2025 and like the Esther project or whatever that Heritage has put forward, which is like basically a way to like creating a task force to specifically go after people who have hurt Israel's feelings. That kind of thing is genuinely terrifying. There is no real like group civil rights organization that will fight against that anymore. By the way, we've gutted most of those institutions post Donald Trump. And that is, by the way, like both parties are doing different things in that same direction. Like they're both moving in the direction of McCarthyism. And that's terrifying in general for the future of this country. So you have Project Esther for the Republican Party, and you have Chuck Schumer trying to advance the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, and both of those things are legitimately worrisome. Anyway.